Every year, Madden faces the same criticism from a portion of fans. Oh, it's just a roster update, I'm not getting that. NFL 2K5 needs to come back. Madden's geared too much towards the casual fan. They still haven't added the Tony Bruno show back. Oh, that's just me. Are those complaints warranted? Let's find out. Despite the passing game remaining relatively untouched this year, the running game is the one that's been overhauled. More specifically, the open field moves. What can I say, running with the ball feels way more realistic this year. Long gone are the days of spamming the double juke button in the open field and call the defenders 5 yards away to fall. The moves you pull off in Madden 17 feel earned, and each ball carrier feels different from one another in the moves they can pull off. So you won't mistake AP for Darren Sproles anytime soon. And when you collide with a defender, a button will pop up above each of your heads to determine if you break the tackle or go down with ease. Another highlighted feature is the improved zone logic and new types of coverages, which play as advertised. I now have the ability to have my zone defender convert to man and follow a seam route up the field to stop the rampant use of 4 verticals, which is beautiful. And how many of us have yelled at the TV that despite playing cover 2, that flat corner didn't quite play that flat hard enough? Well, our prayers have been answered. And man defenders aren't as attached to the hip of the receivers as they were in 16. And will give way more often to sharp in and out breaking routes, especially if the defender's man coverage rating isn't up to par. Pass rushers will get after it and cause a lot more fumbles to quarterbacks while they're standing in the pocket and when they're about to throw the ball. And regarding aggressive catching, the upper echelon of receivers will still catch more than their fair share of one-on-one deep balls. That's just the reality of it. But the user has a lot more control over how to defend the deep ball this year with improved swat mechanics, which would improve your chances of stopping the Julio Joneses of the world. And all but eliminate the John Doe type receivers from mossing your corners for no reason. But I feel it still doesn't put enough risk on the guy throwing the deep ball. Sure, you can throw an interception because the game just felt like triggering that animation before you even throw the ball. But if the user defender wants any input to how the play is going to unfold, the only way to not get mossed repeatedly is to swat. I think it just revolves around the fact that going for interceptions yourself isn't as effective as it should be. And lastly, I like what they did with the special teams, from simply changing the field goal meter, which is going to take me a couple more games to get used to allowing you the ability to block kicks or get your John Ryan on and fake a field goal with the new fake field goal plays. You definitely can't call special teams boring anymore. Moving on, franchise mode has received the biggest improvements in my opinion. Formation subs, oh how I've missed you. This is where you can get real creative with who you have where and in what formations. Got a 60 overall red zone threat wide receiver, sub them into all your favorite red zone plays so you won't forget in the middle of the game. The game planning is cool. I'm the first to say that more stats the better, so having detailed scouting reports on your upcoming opponent is nice. And the drills aren't as restrictive as I thought they would be when I read that the computer comes up with the game plan for you to follow. Because you can still do any drill you want despite what it recommends. And how the game deals with free agency in season and in the off season is a nice step in the right direction. In season, you can now have the option to sort by the top 100 rated players of all the positions. And within that, you can sort by the top 100 practice squad eligible players, so it only shows players with 1 year or less experience. Sort by all the guys who are ineligible, so anybody with more than a year experience. Guys already on teams practice squad, so here's the list of guys you can steal from other GMs. And the regular top 100 rated players regardless of how long they've been in the league. And in the offseason when you bid on free agents, you've now shown player interest in your team via a point system broken up into different categories. And you earn more points by making yourself more attractive in categories he finds most important. And lastly, when you scout, each category price decreases now, so the first rating costs the most. Pretty much nuking my strategy last season of scouting everybody's first rating to see what they were working with. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the change as it definitely makes you more choosy on who you give your 15 points to, possibly allowing a few guys to slide down the drafts. Presentation with the new pregame intros, pylon cam, updated stats on the fly during replays that makes you feel like you're watching the real game. And as for commentary, I mean, they drop some funny lines like this.
This is the football. Does the big boy have the juice?
But when this happens,
oh, he shifts past him.
I mean, come on, bro, you gotta get in there. I mean, check this.
Stokely down the sideline. Can they catch him? Stokely, wow!
Right? Davis and Gowton are a nice change for what we've been used to, but don't really stand out and become background noise after a few games. The best part about the commentary team is the fact they add lines throughout the season. It's kind of creepy. I was playing the game earlier and they were going on about how Goff and Wentz got hurt in their first game. Technology, you scary. And the added ticker at the bottom for franchise games is something I loved in NCAA, and I find myself looking down to catch a specific guy's league score, for which I guess it serves its purpose. In the end, as Madden steers towards being a player in the esports scene, it will only mean good news for the franchise. And Madden 17, save for some minor issues, is on the right path. So Sports Gamers Online gives it a 9 out of 10. Whether you're about to load up your newly bought Madden 17 or on the fence about getting it, we're going to go over the top 10 things you need to know about Madden's newest title, and the improvements that have been made to the game to show you why this potentially could be the best Madden to date. First, it's going to be a lot more of an adventure to run the ball this year, so don't expect to see people abusing a double juke or immediate cutback like in Madden 16, because EA has added a lot more outcomes to the moves you do. And they've also added a number of new moves and animations based on the ratings the ball carrier has. Next is the defensive AI has been given a complete overhaul, and defense will now have a defensive gap control system, so it'll be harder for your opponents to run the ball, and for you to get outflanked to the edge on the simplest of run plays like tosses, all because one of your players chose the wrong gap to play. My favorite is Madden introducing a new commentary team in the form of Braden Gowton and Charles Davis. This will immediately make the game feel different. Like when they brought on Gus Johnson, big plays felt more special with him announcing. Commentary makes a difference, and EA will build upon the new commentary in 17 with updated lines throughout the season. Not only has the computer AI been fixed for defensive run fits, it's been reworked for zone coverages also. So you won't have to worry about a flat zone not covering the flats. I know, shocking, right? As there's more specific zone coverages, 10 in total, that are dedicated to specific areas on the field.